Welcome to Looking at the Markets with David Modell. Today, we're going to talk about how stocks are boring and options are cool. You want to know why? Well, here's why. Let's talk about it. Advantages of stocks, and I put a question mark after that because I'm not sure if these advantages of stocks are really such great advantages. Well, you can hold stocks for as long as you want, even years or decades. Unlike options, stocks have no expiration date. Well, that's true, but you can buy long-term options too. Well, it's also true that stocks are easier to understand than options. With stocks, you don't have to learn about theta, delta, gamma, and so on. But you can learn about these things. So you don't have to let all of that stuff, the theta, the delta, the gamma, you don't have to let that be an obstacle if you're willing to learn about it. It's easier to get permission from a broker to trade stocks than options. Sure, but you can usually find a broker who will give you permission to trade options. All right, and there are a lot of brokers out there, and if you shop around, you could probably find somebody who will give you options permission. Now, some traders lose a lot of money quickly by putting too much of their money into an options trade. Right, true, but it's also true that stock traders can lose a lot of money quickly, especially if they're buying penny stocks or leveraged ETFs, etc. So sure, people have lost a lot of money or even all of their money by trading options and by, taking on very large trades. But you can also lose all of your money through stocks by putting way too much money into your trades as well. Well, what about the advantages of options? I think there are quite a few of them. And here's a cartoon. This is an old Ziggy cartoon. Stock options 50 cents. Okay, well, they may not be 50 cents necessarily. But I put that there because stock options are, generally speaking, much less expensive than stocks. So the advantages of options, well, stocks tend to tie up a lot of capital. Options, on the other hand, typically don't. Another advantage is that options usually provide leverage that you just won't get with stocks most of the time. So traders with small accounts can enjoy decent profits just like traders with big accounts can. Options offer more possible strategies than stocks. For example, with options, you can sell puts and calls, you can create spreads, you can use straddles and strangles, etc. These are things that you cannot really do with just stocks. With options, you can profit if the market goes up or down or sideways. You can even profit without knowing which direction it'll go. So even if you don't know where the market's going to go or where a stock's going to go, even if you don't want to try to predict whether it's going to go up or down, you can still profit off of that with options. And if you already own a stock, you can use options to protect yourself from a market crash. For example, if you buy protective puts. You can also use options to earn extra income from the stock that you already own. So for example, if you own shares of stock, and you sell covered calls against that stock, you can make extra income from any stock that you already have. Now, in my opinion, options are better than stocks if there's a market crash. And I'll give you a very simplified example, okay? And don't expect these numbers to be exactly like this if there's a market crash, but this is just an example of what could happen. Let's say you have $100,000 in your account. Well, you could put all of it into blue chip stocks, the kinds you would see in the S&P 500, or you could put 10% of it into options representing those stocks. Now, what if the market crashes 50%, like it did in the year 2000 and again in 2008? And of course, it could happen again. If you owned the stocks, your account would be cut in half to $50,000. Remember, you started with $100,000. So now you'd have $50,000 worth of stock. It could recover eventually, but that could take years. On the other hand, if you owned the options instead of the stocks, your account would be reduced if there's a crash only by 10%. You would still have $90,000 in your account. Not too bad, right? A lot better than going down to $50,000. And you could use that money, the $90,000, to buy stocks or options at a deep discount if you wanted to. Or you could just keep the $90,000 in cash. But if a market crash did happen, and even if you lost 10% of your account, it wouldn't be the end of the world. And furthermore, you could take the 90% of your account that's intact, and after the crash, you could buy stocks or options very cheaply, and you could make your money back probably pretty easily when the market recovers. And in my opinion, options are the best choice for small accounts. And a lot of people come to me with questions about small accounts. Now let's say, and this is just a very simplified example, let's say you have $10,000 in your trading account. And by the way, you don't need that much to start. You can start with a lot less than that. But let's say you have $10,000 in your account. What can you do? Well, you could buy $10,000 worth of blue chip S&P 500 stocks, and you might earn, let's say, $800 or maybe $1,000 in a year. Okay, so that would be about 8 to 10%. Well, $800 or $1,000 in a whole year, that's not really much. I mean, it's not anything to write home about, to be honest. Or you could use options to earn the same profits as someone with hundreds of thousands of dollars in their trading account. Because options are leveraged, you can control large amounts of stock with a small amount of money. So what's the takeaway? Well, stocks are fine for some situations, but if you're not taking advantage of options, then I believe you're missing out on a wide variety of important trading and investing strategies. And if you'd like more help with this, if you want to learn more about options, stocks, or finance in general, or investing, well, you can contact me anytime. My email address is davidmodell@gmail.com. And by the way, feel free to leave comments or give me a thumbs up for the video if you like it. I'm very glad to help you, and I hope to hear from you soon.